Hey, everybody.
Still wrong. Wrong one.
What's going on?
Okay, I got it.
You got it?
Not really, but
It works. How are you guys?
wow, what a delay.
Damn it. Hold on, trying to get up dlive. It's don't want to live. Dlive do not want to live.
Hey, Andy, Nicole, Freaky, Spitfire, Shaz, Carol. I did some Freaky.
Hey, Ghost Rider. I don't know if you're still in here. Freaky Geek, Nicole, Spitfire, Shaz, Carol. How you guys doing? Andy. Hello. How's everybody doing? What's going on? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, we're here. Long time no see. Yay! Thank you for the ice cream, Nicole. Thank you. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around. Yeah, I know, because Eddie couldn't figure out how to do it.
Oh, here we go with the live. She's the one saying, look, I'm trying to get the live up.
I mean, before we went live, though. Hey, Sheriff, what's up? There's my Miss Danielle, who changed her name again. She's Danielle's Den. That's what took so long, too, was because I didn't realize I forgot. Because while Danielle was here, she was all up on my PC. And,
sure, now she's going to blame her daughter. Everybody's at fault but her.
No. But, yeah, so some of the settings were off a little bit, so I had to go and it's been a while, It's been a while since I've gone live, so, it took me a minute to figure it all out again. That's right. So what is going on? Anything interesting? Since we talked last, the kids were up here, had a ball with them, loved them. Well, loved them. I always love them. But, I mean, I loved having them up here. It was freaking awesome. Did a lot of fishing. Got smacked in the face by a fish. That was lovely. So what are you going to do? But, yeah, no. And then we were supposed to go to Kennecott Mines because we wanted to go. Had our bag packed, all our equipment, paranormal equipment, and couldn't get in. It was awesome. 4-hour ride. Nice, Danielle. Okay. Nice. Well, what the hell, man? You're making more money than your mom. What's up with that? But yeah, it was so, to anybody who doesn't know, like I said, the kids came up. And the first night when they got to Anchorage, yeah, they had a problem. The flight from Anchorage to Valdez didn't fly because of the weather. So I was like...
They stayed at the Bates Motel.
Yes, yeah, the hotel that they stayed at, oh my God. That was, hearing Ryan describe that was freaking hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, now you think about this. When you check into a hotel, you don't expect them to say, well, go out these doors, turn right at the corner, and your building's like 3 buildings down. What?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, let me tell you. Hey, Cassie.
Hey, Cass.
Let me tell you, having Briella here, our granddaughter, that was just absolutely awesome as well as Savannah and Steve, which is Ryan's best friend. So anyway, yeah, So they stayed in Anchorage overnight, and then they were like, the plane didn't fly out, so they're like, well, what are we gonna do? I couldn't get any because there's such a why, what's the matter? Oh, I might have not have switched it back. I was doing intros. Is that better? Talk, honey.
I heard you just fine to begin with.
No, they're having problem.
I don't know. I don't care. If they don't hear me, they don't hear me. Yay.
Hey, Crystal, how are ya?
How you doing, Crystal?
The hotel, oh my God, once you walked in, you had to walk down to go to your room, and depending on, yeah, I know. I had to walk in and then out. It was weird. It was a very weird hotel. But, so I get a text message, or no, I got a phone call from Ryan, who's in Anchorage, going, well, Mom, well, no, he goes, so that's when you know Ryan's got an idea. And he's like, so I came up with a plan. And I'm like, what?
I was on the shitter.
Yeah, I know, right? So I was taking, he doesn't swear around me, but he's like, I was in the bathroom and I came across this idea. I'm like, great, what? He goes, to rent a U-Haul.
And not the big moving truck, just the cargo van.
The cargo van that has no seats in the back. Yeah.
That one.
So they all piled in there and drove down. 6 hours later. Thank you, Cassie, for sharing out my video. I love you. Love you, love you, I love ya. Oh, yeah, the pizza. Yeah, that was right. You're right, Danielle. Yeah, they ordered a pizza in Anchorage. And apparently these people had put beef ramen, like, flavoring on the pizza. It was very weird. It was very weird. I've never had... I'm like, that's not normal. Like, even in Alaska, that's not normal. So it tasted like you were eating ramen noodles.
I don't even think they get the right size pizzas.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. But it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. Got the boys out fishing. Danielle didn't want to go fishing. She wouldn't have liked it down there anyway with all the mosquitoes and the bugs.
And the bears.
And the bears. Yeah, that happened. Yeah. So me and Ryan and Steve is Ryan's best friend. He came up with him. We went down there fishing. Everybody laughed. Now, what's cool about going down to Allison Point is that when there is a bear coming down the trail, they'll put the siren on, like one big whoop, to let us know that bears are coming. So that went off. People left. And I'm sitting there. I have a folding chair that I take fishing with me because it's hard for me to stand the whole time we're fishing. And the boys are down the ways a little bit. And I'm sitting there, I'm fishing, having a good time. Hello, Miss Tishy. How are you? And welcome. And so I happen to turn and look, and there's a bear just sitting there chomping away on a salmon. And so I'm like, guys, and I'm pointing, I'm like, there's a bear. Ryan, I know, Andy, she wouldn't come play with the sea lions. So Ryan wants to stop and proceed and take pictures. I'm like, Ryan, can we leave before the bear stops eating? Okay, let's get up the hill, because there's these rocks and this little hill that you got to climb up. I'm like, let's get up the hill before the bear decides to come. Now, I don't know if Ryan was messing with me, because Ryan had to kind of put out his hand and pull me up like Eddie does when he's there. Pull me up the hill, and he's turning around. He's like, Mom, it's coming this way. I don't know if he was messing with me, which could be, because that's Ryan. But he's like, Mom, it's coming this way. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. Right, Nicole? What the F?
Oh, what the fart?
Exactly. So it was crazy, but we had a great time. Boys played football a little bit. Well, Eddie tried to. It was real sweet of them, though, because Eddie's having problems with his hand. Right? Hello?
Hi.
Are you not involved in this conversation?
Oh, yeah, but you've just been babbling along, so I didn't know who the hell you were talking to anymore.
But, so Eddie's been having a problem with his hand, so all the boys switched hands so they would throw just as crazy as Eddie did with his left hand.
Found out I am not left-handed.
No. Ryan did good right-handed. I mean, he's like that, though. Sports, he's right-handed. Everything else, left-handed. Right, Andy? Eddie should have let the bear lick your hand. Make it better.
Yeah, I'm sure it would have made it all better. Especially when I pulled it back and it was missing.
Right? Oh, my tapestry? Yeah, I got that a while ago. I love it.
I don't, because she keeps making me move the damn thing.
I do.
And she's got micro lights on this thing.
Apparently I have the wrong controller. And I have my fairy lights that go with it usually. There they are. Wrong one though. I don't know. But anyway.
Oh, yeah. They got to eat their first wild-caught salmon.
Yes. Eddie cooked it up for them, filleted it. All that good stuff. There we go.
I think Danielle ate more than anybody.
I know, which everybody was surprised because Danielle's not a big eater. She's a, bird. But yeah, it was a fun time. We had a great time. Oh, that would be a trip, Andy. Eddie, you should quietly take down the tapestry down and remount it upside down.
No, bad idea. Very, very bad idea.
I'd be like, what the?
I'll tell her too. Aunt told me to do it.
Yeah, right. You would too. You would. So that's been going on here. Just been working away.
And just so people understand, when you're cooking fish, you don't need an overabundance of seasoning. What I use lemon pepper, Johnny seasoning, sea salt, and black pepper.
Nicole's getting kinky with the wooden spoons there.
Welcome back, Freaky.
Welcome back, Freaky Yeet. But yeah, it was a good time. I don't eat, well, the only fish I eat is haddock and cod. Fish fries. That's it. Other than that, I don't eat any fish. But I love catching them.
Especially the silvers.
Yes. Which I did. I caught the first silver and the only silver, although Ryan and Steve are like, we got silvers, but I don't think they did. But the last cast of the last, hoorah, I got a silver. Oh, gotcha, Nicole. Gotcha.
Shaz, thank you for the 5 coffees.
Shaz, thank you so much for the coffees. Thank you. I appreciate that. We appreciate that.
Yeah, my mom used to beat my ass with wooden spoons too.
Yep.
Till after about the 13th one that broke over my ass, and then she went over a damn plastic spatula.
I always threatened.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, Tony. How you doing, hon? Welcome. I always threatened my kids with wooden spoons, but I've never actually hit them with them. I'm a threatener.
Always watching.
That's right, Freaky Geek. Always watching. So today's show, you're ready to get into it. We're talking about ghost lights. Now, I'm sure some of you have seen ghost lights before or heard about them and their existence in a location near you. It's usually a phenomenon described as a glowing ball or ball of light. The light seems to come in every color, although some sites the balls emit only one or two colors of light. The lights can sparkle, they can be stationary, um, they can be in motion, high in the air or low to the ground. Generally, the lights are said to exhibit some sort of bizarre behavior, such as vanishing or displaying evasive action when one moves closer to it. Shut up, Andy. Oh, I didn't set up I don't think my sounds are working, damn it. No, some bitch. But anyway, atmosphere, yeah, here we go. It's the start of the shadow show. Um, Ghost lights are lights or fires that appear in the atmosphere without an obvious cause. Examples include the anabi, the hidodama, and the will-o-wisp. They're often seen in humid climates.
Seen a human climax, huh?
Not climax,
That's
climax.
what you said, the Fred, and then you slowly corrected it.
That's right, so you didn't have to point it out. According to legends, some lights are wandering spirits of the dead, the works of the devil or yokai, or the pranks of fairies, even. They are feared by some people as.
Gotta give the boy points.
No, you ain't gotta give the boy points. You shouldn't be, pointing that shit out. Shut up, Andy. They're all like, if you see one, you're gonna die, that type of thing. In other parts of the world, folks believe that supernatural fires appear when treasure is buried. These fires are said to be the spirits of the treasure or spirits of the humans buried with the goods to protect it. Ghost lights are sometimes thought to be related to UFOs. Some ghost lights, such as St. Elmo's Fire or the Shiranani, have been explained as optical phenomena, a light emitted through electrical activity. Other types may be due to combustion or flammable gases, like in swamps and marshes. Ball lightning, meteors, torches, and other human-made fires. The misconception of human objects and pranks. So the question is, what are they? Yes, you tell them, Nicole. Keep them at bay there. And Nicole said, I so miss the sounds. In the United States, the most ghost lights are found in the southern or western portions of the country. The lights are fixed to a specific location, often usually near railroad tracks, and local geography may include forest places, mountains, or swampy terrain. Usually, although not always, an environment that uh, has limited visibility or prevents direct sunlight. Unlike other forms of strange phenomena, ghost lights are reliable in their appearance, and some places lights have been subject to scientific study. There are many theories and legends surrounding the mysterious lights. Some scientific attempts at explaining the lights include reflections from nearby traffic or towns, ignited gas from marshland.
Even though you're in the middle of a desert?
Yeah, I know, right? Weather balloons.
Yes.
Where ghost lights exist near fault lines, some sort of subatomic particle reactions. But common folklore told by locals usually involve ghostly Indian braves, phantom trains, and their decapitated railway workers, murdered women and their children, or buried miners. Tragic figures that can be connected with lamps or torches. Unfortunately, encroaching development in many communities have seemed to extinguish some of the old reliable ghost lights, indicating that the lights probably did have a natural explanation. In fact, a few locations described old stories received effectively no longer exist due to civilization moving in, which is understandable. I mean, even if they were spirit lights, maybe they moved on because there was so much stuff going on. Unlike other paranormal or supernatural phenomena, ghost lights can be objectively observed by more than one party at a time. They show up reliable, display more or less characteristics, and can be captured on film. That's cool, Spitfire. He said, I'd like to look at the ghost lights in Missouri outside of Joplin. I live not far from there. That would be cool. Although the origin may be a matter of debate, the lights are not imaginary. This makes them unique in the sense that they can be categorized and studied, at least to some extent. So we're going to look at some spook lights in America and Canada, and most of them are, like I said before, tied to car culture, right? Most of the ghost lights were not popular until after the advent of modern automobile in the last 6 decades of the 20th century. Much of the folklore attached to the lights come from the instructions for calling them one's vehicle. Typically, this is performed by parking the car in a certain spot and flashing the headlights a prescribed number of times. This theme is also prevalent. That's unusual to find ghost light location that doesn't require the light calling as part of the ritual of visiting. Yeah, some in Canada. So in his book, Handbook of Unusual Natural Phenomenon, William Corliss divides nocturnal lights into 5 categories. There's will-o-wisps, ghost lights, hot natural flames, UFO-like lights, and psychological or psychic lights. So let's talk about the characteristics a little bit. Ghost lights exhibit a variety of characteristics, with lights at different sites showing their own patterns. Individual experiences are widely different, but the following represent the most typical characteristics shown across the survey of lights. The color, right? That's what it is. Andy says that's probably the elderly lighting their farts at night. That's what it is, right? So the color, ghost lights come in any color, but the most common color is white. Next most common colors are yellow, then orange, and blue with red and green not far behind. The lights at many sites are reported to come in a variety of colors, or they shift colors as they shine. Movement. Movements can be roughly categorized into quick movements or slow movements. In the majority of cases, slow movement consists of swaying or bobbing motion, or like a drift at a pace no quicker than a human walk. So it looks like lights, because a lot of them are talked about old lanterns swaying and moving as people are walking. And he said nothing like the blue flash unless you get singed. That actually happened before. Not to me, but somebody I know. Not Eddie either. So the number. This is the most. You're the best, freaky. Thank you. You're the best. This is the most inconsistent attribute of ghost lights. Thank you for the lemons, Nicole. Thank you so much. With reports ranging from single relatively stationary lights to hundreds of lights at one time. The number of lights observed seems somewhat, although not perfectly, related to the distance in which they are observed. For instance, most multi-light sightings take place from a great distance, such as looking down into a valley or up a mountain, while many, although by no means at all the single lights are seen at much closer range, which makes sense, right? If you're up above something looking down, you're going to see a whole array of lights, but if you're down here, you're only going to see like one light at a time. So it makes sense. No, not Ryan either, Andy. The size and shape. The majority of lights seen seem to be smaller than the human body, with an average size range perhaps between that of a baseball or like a large beach ball. Not all lights follow this rule, though. Some are described as huge balls of light, while others are described as rod shape or whirling. However, the majority seen are not too loud. Not Danielle either, no. So brightness, there's different ones as well. You had your twinkling, your flickering, and glowing. These are the three words most often associated with ghost lights. Brightness varies, but in many cases it's described as bright. All right, Nicole, hurry back. Is that a code message? Be right back. Forgot to put whipped cream in my coffee. Is that a coded message or? So there's been many, many names for ghost lights, right? Because people don't know what to call them when they see them. Besides, it was a light. Spook lights is one of them. The derivation of this name is obvious, as many ghost lights are associated with ghostly legends. They seem intelligent behavior of ghost lights can also be quite spooky. Igneous fatuus. This term has been in use for well over a century in literature. It's not considered, if not considered, longer. Translated from Latin, this means fool's fire, a likely nod to the fact that most ghost lights are, in fact, cool rather than warm. Earth lights. According to Sean Palmer, this term was invented by Paul Devereaux in 1982. The term earth light is often used to refer specifically to light phenomena produced by seismic activity. Nocturnal lights. William Corliss noted in this Handbook of Unusual Natural Phenomenon that this term came from UFO literature. Will-o-wisps are a specific form of ghost lights, those which hover over and they're close to marshes or swamps. Will-o-wisps are often explained away as ignited swamp gas. See, to me, will-o-wisp has always been, the next one's fairy lights, and that's usually when I hear will-o-wisp, that's what I think is fairy lights. But fairy lights, this is a term used in Europe to refer to either will-o-wisps or mysterious lights that are found in around wooded areas. Some ghost lights are quite well known. In a few cases, have been turned into tourist attractions even. Really, Andy? I have fool's gold. Somewhere. That was another thing, too, with the kids. Not to break subject, but just the kids are rock hounds. They've been rock hounds ever since they were young. And I have so many rocks that I got to put up around. Both Ryan and Danielle finding me lots of rocks. I love it. All right, so let's talk about some of these ghost lights, shall we? And some experiences. The first one up is Anson lights. This is from Anson, Texas. Their appearance is white, orange, or blue light that sways from side to side, near the ground or the tree height. Occasionally splits, may also bounce or twinkle before disappearing gradually. displays avoidant behavior when approached. So the folklore of the Anson lights is the light is said to be that of a woman searching for her lost children, carrying a lantern. In some versions, the children are flashing their lanterns to their mother. The light is the spirit of a child or children killed on the railroad tracks there. Another one is the light is the lantern flashed of a deceased son who worked at the railroad and used it as a signal to tell his mom he was coming home. Other explanations: in 2000, the Southwest Ghost Hunters Association investigated and declared the lights to be headlights of passing vehicles on a nearby highway. In 2011, the group from Albion Christian University came to the same conclusion. But you think people would pick up on it? You know, I mean, if I'm out there, especially if I'm investigating ghost lights, I don't know. I mean, I could misinterpret car lights for ghost lights, but I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I think it depends on how far off in the distance it is. Is there a curve in the road? Is there hills?
Right. So the Anson lights are located off Highway 180 in the town of Anson, Texas, about 20 miles north of Abilene. The viewing point is at a crossroads next to a cemetery. Andy said, my son sent me a video. He took us some lights in the sky one night. Certainly ain't car headlights. Yeah, I think you would know the difference. To be honest. I mean, that's just my opinion. But I haven't experienced it, so. According to the reader report, the lights were supposed to be called by driving down the dirt road to the crossroads, turning the car around, and flashing the headlights 3 times. And that's the other thing. If it does this on command, then how are you going to have a car show up every time with headlights? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, not unless you have it pre-arranged.
Right. A variety of folklore exists explaining the lights. The most common is that the woman looking for her lost children. We've talked about this before. They're saying it's La Llorona. You know, which is another Texas tale. Well, I wouldn't say tale. I mean legend. She's always looking for her children. So this ties in with that, apparently. In some of the stories, the mother simply carries a lantern to light her way while searching, while in others, she's instructed her children to flash her lanterns 3 times if they are lost. So that's what it's supposed to be. I just got chills for some reason. Flash your car lights 3 times. And that signals to her that you're lost. So she's going to come help you. The latter is tied to calling of the lights by flashing one's car lights. Some versions differ by explaining the lights of the spirit of children killed on the nearby train tracks. In other story, of course, the triple lantern flash comes from a son who worked at the railroad. So here's some stories of people that experienced them. In 2000, that's not it. I am from a little town called Holly in Texas. There is a town next to it called Anson. Outside of Anson, there's a cemetery. A few years back, my boyfriend told me he wanted to take me out to see the Anson lights. It's supposed to be a ghost of a woman from the 1800s who was looking for her lost son. Well, at that time, I was in a frame of mind that there had to be a scientific explanation for this. So we went. Now, this is how you're supposed to do this. About a quarter mile down the road, running alongside the cemetery, there's a crossroads. You're supposed to go to the crossroads and turn around and flash your lights. Then turn them off and wait. That night we went. This is the part that really freaked me out. We didn't even get past the cemetery and this big bright light popped up behind the car. I'm not the type to be scared easily, but this totally flipped me out. I started jumping in the car, around the car to lock the doors. Well, I'm sorry to say, if you lock your doors, it doesn't mean it's going to stop anything. But, we went to the crossroads and turned around and waited. Well, it was only a few minutes, and there it was again. It was a floating white light that just moved from side to side, around in circles, and then up the trees. There was no set pattern. We were only there a few minutes when a police officer came and told us to leave. He told us that there's nothing but lights from the Stanford Highway. Well, we left, and on that way home, my ex told me that was a total lie. That he and some friends went out there one night in 2 different vehicles. One was a truck with a high-powered spotlight mounted on it. They had CBs in their vehicles, so they had the truck drove up and down the Stanford Highway for over an hour with the spotlight on. The whole time, my ex and the others never saw the light until the truck got back.
So the light was hiding until they got back.
Right. They drove up to see if it was from the Stanford Highway with the spotlight on, but they couldn't see the light, from where they were. Since one night we took my family out there, my youngest brother didn't believe it all. So he and a couple of friends took off. A few minutes later, the rest of us saw the light. Then a really strange thing happened. 2 lights popped up, and they were both doing the exact same thing. Then we realized that one of them was my brother on the hood of our friend's truck with a spotlight covered with a black shirt. And he was mocking the pattern that we had seen the light move. We're all laughing when they pulled up and stopped, but my brother jumped off and laughed and said, "I told you there was no real lights." We were still laughing, and we pointed behind them where the light was still moving in its circles. He went white as a ghost, and from that minute on, he believed too. So there you go. I mean, can you imagine trying to freak somebody out and then you turn around and there's real lights there? And you're like,
oops.
Yeah. Another person says, I too have seen the famed Anson lights outside of Anson, Texas, and I could corroborate the story. There is a cemetery off the highway and take the dirt road down the crossroads. The first time I went with 2 friends and we drove to the crossroads, turned our cars around, and waited for 10 minutes. We saw a glow on the bottom of the horizon and thought our eyes were playing tricks on us. But they weren't. Sure enough, this twinkling, flickering light, she wrote, getting goosebumps as I write this, dances down the road towards our car. It got 50 feet away before I went into hysterics. My friend turned on his headlights, which made it disappear. So we drove up to the corner convenience store to get our bearings. Then we decided we got to go back. We just had to turn the car around at the crossroads, and the light started swinging madly from side to side. So they're not even calling them. They said, I've been back several times and the light has done different things, like flying to the trees. One time it didn't show at all. Another time I saw a dead black dog lying on the crossroads. Not uncommon to see roadkill, but another friend had been out to the site 2 or so years before and seen a dead black dog lying in the same vicinity. Something else happened out there and he won't discuss it, nor will he return. Another friend's boyfriend went out there and shut the engines to his car off. It wouldn't start. They had to push it to that convenience store. So, I mean, there's another one. You know what I mean? There's a lot. So I think these people, especially if they're from the area, would notice if it was from lights in the highway.
Right.
And like I said, the one dude tested it out with a spotlight, not even headlights, with a spotlight, and they didn't see anything. So our next location is Bingham Lights.
Well, that one that had the pickup truck with the high-powered spotlight?
Yeah.
When they got all the way down where they were going to see if it was coming from the highway,
mm-hmm.
they should have turned around and pointed the light back towards them to see how well they could actually see that light.
That's true. That's true. But they probably weren't thinking. They were just probably thinking, let's see if we can see it. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Because you don't think about things like that sometimes. But I mean, and there's more stories to this. I have the links in the description below. They should be there, of more accounts of these lights, these Anson lights. The next one is Bingham lights. These are in Dillon, South Carolina. They have white or blue light that swings from side to side in nearby fields in the woods. Some observers report a sinister feeling. Bingham Lights, located in or near Dillon, South Carolina, seems to be one of the lesser known ghost lights in America, and one of the lights this person received the fewest entries about. So the tale concerns a farmer named John, or Bill, Bingham, who was either run over by the train tracks in the area or murdered someone there. Either way, he was carrying his lantern at the time, and that this is explained for the mysterious light now seen there. The site is described as a woody area with a creek running nearby and swampland in the general vicinity. Most reports describe the lights as white or blue and swinging from side to side. Some observers have seen the lights in nearby fields, while others insist the lights emanates from the woods. There seems to be some confusion on this point, as apparently some point the area was woodier than it is now, and a narrow wood was cut through the woods that may no longer exist. So if you go looking for these lights, you might not find the area that they're actually seen. But one aspect that makes these ghost lights a little different from the others is that sinister feeling. Overall, this light is difficult to find details about, and many of the articles available on the web seem to be copied from each other. You know how it goes. So here's one about the Bingham Lights, a reader's experience. Bingham Lights in Dillon, South Carolina is one of the scariest things I've ever witnessed. You get off I-95 Dillon exit, and at the historical marker you will see a dirt road that leads into the woods. Park and walk about a mile or so and start yelling for him. You will know when you are close because the temperature will drop drastically. His name is John Bingham. He was hit by a train in the late 1800s or early 1900s, depending on who you ask in town. He was flagging the train with a lantern, and his lantern is what you see swaying back and forth. The tracks are no longer there, but I've been there 4 or 5 times, and every time I go, something weird happens. The first time, the light actually got in my face about 3 feet away, and I got sick. The second time, the motor in my friend's brand new car blew up on the dirt road. He had only had the car 4 days. The third time, we bogged down a 4-wheel drive Jeep on the dirt road. And in the same instance, my friend shot it with a rifle after making sure it wasn't some idiot out there playing a joke. And it split and turned into different colors. So, I mean, all this stuff happened in a 2-week period. If you ever go, you'll get the feeling that you need to go back.
So basically, he shot the light and it split.
Yeah, into 2 and then changed colors. That's weird. How could that happen?
Well, I don't know.
Give me an explanation, Eddie, please.
Mirrors.
Mirrors?
How the hell do I know? You're the ghost expert.
So in Saratoga, Texas, on Bragg Road, there's ghost lights there. And the appearance is white, yellow, red, or green light that sways back and forth like a railroad worker carrying a lantern. The light may back away when approached or shoot up into the sky. It may also skim the hood of cars. The light is said that it is a railroad worker who was decapitated in an accident. Others' explanations are perhaps car headlights, but there's no hard conclusions with that. Additional notes, a portion of the road have been renamed Ghost Road Scenic Drive. So they kind of turn it into a. So the Bragg Road Ghost Light, also known as Big Thicket Ghost Light and the Saratoga Light, is located on a wooded dirt road surrounded by swampland that runs between Saratoga and Bragg, Texas. In the early 20th century, railroad tracks ran over the road and several deaths supposedly took place there while the trains were still running. Local legend describes a railroad worker had been decapitated, among other tales. The rails were taken up in 1934, and it was after this that the ghost lights began to appear. So, some experiences. Back in 1975, my brother, my newlywed wife, and a friend of ours climbed into a Volkswagen Beetle and headed for Countsy. Kind of.
That's what it sounds like, Freaky.
A little bit. At the time, we all lived in Groves, Texas, next to Port Arthur, southeast of the Gulf Coast. It took only about 45 minutes to get there. It was a dark night around October or November. My brother had been before and convinced us to go along because I would not believe him about the ghost road. So we drove the car off the state highway onto a dirt road. When we first got there, it was dusk, so we could still see the dirt road and the tall overhanging trees. We drove down the road until we could not see or hear the highway noise from where we came. We parked the car and waited for the darkness. It seemed to take hours. I suggested that we should turn on our headlights because it was so dark, but my brother said that the light from the car would keep the Bragg light from appearing. Just then my brother shouted, "Look down there! There it is!" At first I could not make it out. Then I saw a small yellow light that seemed to be about a half a mile or more away. The more we stared at it, the brighter and closer it came. Then suddenly the color changed to an amber, and the light started moving from side to side. Thinking that it could be a hoax or either a friend of my brother's or a nearby farmer that did not like people there, I suggested that we put the car in drive and move forward to see if we could run down whoever was carrying the light. But the farther we moved, the light moved back in equal distance. We stopped the car mainly in fear that we might run into a tree or some other obstacle, because remember, they have their lights off. The light resumed its oncoming movement until I got about 50 yards in front of us. My wife at this time was really scared. I got out of the car along with my brother, and suddenly the light stopped moving. It turned white and was about a diameter of a bowling ball. Then it stopped in front of the car about 25 yards and shot up towards the sky. This experience has made me a believer in the strange or natural things. I've heard scientists explain it away as being swamp gas. That may be true, but it was still entertaining. Here's another one. I live only 20 minutes away from Bragg Lake. It's truly a remarkable sight. I have seen it dozens of times. First off, do not stop on the road. Keep your running lights or use no lights if the moon allows. Stopping only makes you wait longer. Just creeping along at a slow pace, and eventually you'll see it. When you first see it, it usually looks like a security light on a telephone pole. Kind of like it does in the early foggy morning. It's nothing more than a hazy white light in the center and blue on the outer edges. The trees grow together in most places over the road, so the light sort of makes the upper branches visible. You can slow down or stop at this point. It usually comes closer to you, and the blue part of the haze will gradually fade to red as it gets closer. Then all of a sudden, the entire cloud-like haze will fall in on itself and become a small light. See, now that's weird. Like they're describing it like as it actually
implodes.
Yeah, that's wild. Then all of a sudden, the entire cloud will, like haze, will fall in itself, become a smaller light, which can be as bright as car headlights. However, it's far from being a car headlight because it'll fade on and off, or just cut off and reappear. Sometimes it'll last a while, and sometimes it's very short. Since the road is very straight and very long, and it can appear to be very close. But my friends and I have run down the road at speeds of nearly 70 miles an hour and still have never caught it.
I'd like to. I hope you driving when you said running 70 miles an hour.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm hoping too. I have also seen it very close. I've never seen it shoot to the sky, but I have seen it go out right as I got out of my truck and then reappear behind my truck. I've seen it up to 6 times in one trip down the road. Each time you see it, you just want to see it again. So when you get to the end of the road, you just turn around and try again. I can understand that, though. You want to know what it is. You want to figure it out.
Put your mind at ease.
Right? So it says, at any rate, it's very real, and you will not be disappointed if you follow the guidelines I have left. Also, I would not recommend speeding down the road as we did. We only did because we know it well. It's very straight, and there are only a few bends.
Watch out for the new pothole.
Yeah, right? So, yeah, I mean, definitely another array of, different experiences with that light. The next one is... Oh, hold on a minute here. Brown Mountain Lights. Now this is one of my top 10 places to go. I love reading about the Brown Mountain Lights. I love hearing experiences of the Brown Mountain Lights. I want to go to the Brown Mountain to see the lights.
Here in a couple of days, I could probably create one for you.
Ha ha ha. Right? Celebrate that. That's right. No. Brown Mountain, North Carolina. I've actually had friends that have experienced these lights, and I really want to go figure them out. Appearance, they're white, yellow, or red spherical lights hovering high in a valley or just above the mountain. So there's a couple of folklores that go along with this. The lights are spirits of Native American tribesmen killed in battle. The lights are a ghost of woman and her children murdered by her husband on the mountain. The lights are lanterns of the Revolutionary War soldiers. The lights are lanterns of the Civil War era servant searching for the mountains for his lost master. And they're saying other explanations are probably car headlights. Now, I've seen... Thank you, Nubs, for sharing out my video. I've seen... And you can go on YouTube and find not pictures, but videos of the Brown Mountain Lights. For some reason, you know what they remind me of? They remind me of the warriors in the Night Marchers in Hawaii. For some reason, I don't know. I just get that feel when I watch them, because it's some of them, sometimes it's array of lights, like people walking behind each other with torches or something. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Okay, Cassie. Hey, Nubs.
What's up, Nubs?
So the Brown Mountain Lights are one of the most well-known cases of American ghost lights. They have a paper trail back to at least September of 1913, when an article about them appeared in the Charlotte Daily Observer. At that time, the lights were described round in shape, smaller than the full moon, but larger than any star. They were said to rise in a valley below Brown Mountains before winking out. There are several legends told about the lights. One holds that they are spirits of Native American tribesmen killed in a battle long ago. Another details a tragic tale involving an abusive husband murdering his wife on the mountains, while still another claims that the lights are lanterns of the Revolutionary War soldiers. The most popular and common seems to be the story of a Civil War era servant searching the mountain for his lost master. Despite the backdating of lights, it does appear that prior to the publishing of the 1913 newspaper article, the lights are perhaps not a popular attested phenomenon. Although some modern media articles describe sighting of lights back to the 1800s, they found no original source backing up these claims. But the Brown Mountain lights are unique in being the only set of ghost lights that have been studied by actual scientists and substantially published in an official publication in 1913 and again in 1922. Members of the U.S. Geological Survey made attempts to explain the origin of the phenomenon. George Rogers Mansfield, in his 20-page 1922 USGS report, made very thorough observations of the lights and in the end attributed their appearance to locomotive headlights, automobile headlights, or stationary permanent lights, and brush fryers. So you have this whole array of things.
Did we miss Mama Cass come in?
No, he was talking about Mama Cassie. He calls Cassie Mama.
Oh. I was like,
So, I mean, well, they could be this, or this. I don't know. Here's some accounts, anyway.
Make sure you get really good pictures to bring back home.
Right.
Because I'm not going.
Why won't you go? When it comes to the lights, you don't... Why is it? Why is that? You'd want to go to Kennecott?
Yeah, but you didn't talk about lights popping up there either.
Does that freak you out more, seriously? Like just lights out of nowhere?
A little bit.
More so than spirits?
Possibly.
What do you got? What about you guys? Does lights freak you out more? No problem, Andy. Welcome back. Always watching. So this person says, I've seen the Brown Mountain lights myself. The legend I've heard and read of tales tells that the lights are supposed to be the search lantern of a slave who went to search of his master lost on the mountain that never returned. When I saw the lights, I was looking at sort of a cleft between two portions of the mountains. The lights would appear somewhat down on the mountainside and make their way up to a point on the cliff face. From there, they would shoot up into the sky and simply vanish. Me too, Nubs. Yeah. We should all take up a collection and just go visit lights. Go where ghost lights are seen.
I'll smack you in the back of the head with a baseball bat. You'll see all the lights in the world.
Shut up.
They'll pop up out of nowhere.
It's been said that the lights are simply reflections caused by motor traffic on the far side of the mountain.
Hey, Car.
But hey, Carveldi, how are you? Welcome. But I can't understand the movement of the lights and how it shot up in the sky if it were those. It did not look to me like reflected light bouncing off low-hanging clouds. But who really knows? Another one is, my grandmother told me that at Brown Mountain Lights, North Carolina, can see a ghost city. Basically, it's a city where the outlines of structures are visible, but the lights are very clearly manifested. For example, one sees, in her words, the headlights of cars as they travel, the stoplights changing, and the lights in the office building being turned on and off. Overall, it's a city. If I recall correctly, she did describe that the area of the city is viewed as a valley or a depression in the ground.
Welcome back, Ghost Rider.
Welcome back.
Hey, easily.
Hey, easily distracted. Cars of people interested in seeing the city park all around and shut off their lights to view the spectacle. See, I've never heard that. I've never heard of a whole. That would be awesome, though. A whole city showing up.
Oh yeah, that'd be fucking fantastic.
That would be freaking wild. I would have. Oh my god, I would freak out. In a good way, though. I would. Can you imagine if we were sitting there and
she can handle lights and ghosts in towns popping up, but Lord will have mercy if a sea lion pops his head out of the water.
Hey, that's a real important threat, danger, man. Hell yeah. In October 1969, I went en route to Asheville, North Carolina. It was somewhere between Knoxville and Asheville, around midnight or later, well into the mountains. I looked into the sky and saw what looked like an ordinary spotlight beam. I may have been the first to comment on it, I don't recall for sure, but it was visible to the other passengers as well. We presumed it to be what it looked like a conventional spotlight beam. We couldn't see the source because of the trees and the shoulders of the mountain, but when we rounded the curve of the road, the full length of the beam was exposed.
See what Freaky Geek wrote?
That's when...
Or Nubs wrote?
That's when the unexpected and explained began to unfold. What do you write? Until you find out the whole ghost town is a portal, we all disappear. Hey, but at least we'll figure out what the hell's going on.
Yes, Ghost Rider, it has been a long time for her, happy. I started reading with the top line before I finished the last sentence.
Oh, I'm glad you're happy to be. We're happy to have you here. Definitely.
Damn it, she's rubbing off on me.
So, this is what unfolded, okay? Ready? So they round this bend, they see this beam, they round the bend, and then they see that the beam had no source on the ground. It was simply... That's lovely. It was...
Oh, what a hell of a name. I'm not even going to... Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Thanks for the follow.
So this
God.
thing had no... It's just suspended there. There's no source.
I'm with you, Freaky Geek.
I don't see why you guys would be afraid of this.
Because I'm not disappearing.
Okay. The beam has no source on the ground. It's simply suspended in the sky with no observable source. It was a white light, and as I said, it looked exactly like the shaft from a conventional spotlight. Wider at one end than the other, but the end you were expected to see connected to a ground source was simply cut off and blunt, and had no connection to the mountain. Then it began changing shape. I've never seen a beam of light go through the change of shape I observed in the next few minutes. The ends began to close in, so that it became something like a fat toothpick. The end pointing toward the mountain began to open out into an arrow or spearhead shape, with the rest of the beam becoming the shaft. Then the shaft began to shorten, as though it was being absorbed until it was gone. I think all of us were somewhat stunned. We made no real conversation about it.
What? Oh, y'all didn't see that light just disappear?
Right?
The guys in the back seat going, what light?
When we were in Asheville, we asked about it, and we were told that that's the Brown Mountain Lights. However, this doesn't fit the description I've read about those lights. That was an interesting story. Maybe, Ghost Rider.
Now, this is light just kind of just disappeared, right?
Yeah.
But the one before
Like
that
it
shot
changed.
skyward.
Yeah, right.
Hmm.
So maybe it is aliens, right?
Could be. I mean, if they can't figure out what it is, there's always a possibility.
Right. So my name is Emily, and I'm a Western North Carolina native.
Liar.
How do you know?
Because your name is Missy and you're from fucking Western New York.
I said, here's another one.
Hey, Spitfire.
Welcome back, Spitfire. They say, I thought you might want to know the real story of the lights, as I've heard all my life. I've been here for the majority of my life, and I know all the local Western New York, North Carolina ghost stories. The Brown Mountains Lights story goes like this. A very long time ago, a young woman fell in love with a much older man. Her family was very against the marriage and begged her not to marry him because he wasn't someone who was easily trusted. Of course, her heart ruled, her senses lost, and she married him. For a short while, they lived near her family, but then he thought they should move to Black Mountain against her family's will. He kept her locked up and wouldn't let her leave to see her family. Her husband loved to hunt, so he stayed gone most of the time, and out of fear, she stayed at their home. She found out that he had been cheating on her, so she wanted to leave. She waited for him to go on his usual hunting trip, but he was suspicious of her actions. She, by this time, had a child and packed up her and the child's belongings and went out into the woods. Well, he followed with an axe and chopped her head off and killed the child as well, then buried them both.
Well, that wasn't very nice.
I know, right? He went home and became frantic with worry and summoned all the neighbors to help him look for them because they were missing. Everyone had loved the woman, so people came from miles and miles to aid the man. They all brought lanterns and divided up looking for them all through the woods, and of course, never found them. The man eventually moved the other woman in with him, but after some time the guilt weighed on his mind and he became crazy and eventually killed himself. The neighbors never stopped looking for the bodies of the woman and the child. Those are the lights you are supposed to be seeing. That's the short version of the story.
Well, the reason why he asked for the town's help in trying to find them is because he knew how to lead them away from where they actually were.
Right. That's true. But see, that's the thing. That's with the Brown Mountain Lights, because that's what I've always seen and heard is the lights are like there's a lot of them. There's not just one. There's like a consecutive walking, right? But then it like breaks up and you can see all over the lights all over.
A Ghost Rider, I guess, is living in Ohio for 30 years now.
Oh, wow. What part of Ohio?
The part that you're looking at.
Smart ass.
Me? Was she talking to me?
Who?
You.
Yeah.
Okay. Just clarify.
So another story is, or another that has seen the lights. The lights seen on Brown Mountain are subject of a family legend. My mother's family was related to the Browns, who this mountain was named after. You're the best. They were a plantation family and owned slaves. During the Civil War, one man was a colonel in the Confederate Army. He was wounded and came home in 1863 or thereabouts. One day he went up the mountain. I don't remember what for, though it was told to me.
Because he was at the bottom of it?
And he did not return. After a few days, they sent the man's personal servant after him, and the servant's name was Jim. This I remember with extreme clarity, though I don't know why. But he took a little food, some water, and 2 lanterns. He had grown up on the mountains and did not expect to look long. because the Brown Mountains is not really a big place.
Chris Rogers says he lived just north of Lima.
Okay.
I have no idea.
I don't know where that is either.
I mean, I'm just a Pennsylvania boy, so I had no goddamn clue.
The servant also never returned. No trace of Jim or his master was ever found, and no one knows what happens to them to this day. Shortly after they disappeared, 2 bobbing lights started to appear on the mountain. The legend has it that these lights are the lanterns Jim took with him, and he's still looking for his lost master.
No, the aliens abducted him and did tests on him. That's what happened.
Is that what it was?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, come on. After all these years, there's still no bones that have never been found. You know, there's no trace of them. They just disappeared.
Right.
Okay.
So this guy says, I've had personal contact with the Brown Mountain Lights all my life. I first ran across them when I was in Gatlinburg some 40 years ago when we were roofing the Joy Motel. I was an installation supervisor at the waterproofing business back then, and a friend and I were free to wander the surrounding countryside as pauses in construction time permitted. I found the lights to be something of an enigma, and I began to search for answers. Because that's what happens. You know, you see something and you want to learn. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So you research as much as you can.
You want the explanation of what's going on.
Right. Why am I seeing this? How am I seeing this? That type of thing. So over the next 5 years, I learned all there was to know about the Brown Mountain Lights. Driving from Atlanta to Washington, I made it a point to stop by and check to see if they were still there. The next time I confronted them was on my honeymoon in 1961, when my new wife and I were around again in Gatlinburg, wandering through the Smokies over a two-week period. We found ourselves over the other side of the mountain, and with motel accommodation secured for the night, we drove up to the area where the state had cut an overlook into the side of the mountain across from what was basically known as Brown Mountain. Hey, Simon, how you doing? It wasn't more than just a bulldozed level area then eroded by spring rains, but it was adequate for me to set up my tripod. I shot 36 exposures in ectochrome of light as the sun went down and dusk settled. Kodak was a fast film back then. I was fascinated as the lights began to show up at dusk, quite clearly visible back then because pollution had not yet filled the hollows of the Smokies and the other mountains. Their appearance coincided with dusk falling, just as the sun was going down, and they were roughly 1/2 to 3/4 of a mile away from us, across from the valley that separated us. Their color was pale yellows, blues, greens, pinks, oranges, all of transluting color as through there was some sort of light within them. I had studied all I could find on swamp gas, will-o-wisps, and other sources that could make up lights, but it just didn't make sense. Over a period of 45 minutes, we sat there and watched with our binoculars as these large light objects would appear, about 5 to 10 feet above the ground, and then ascend to the height of sometimes about 100 to 150 feet up in the air, pause there for some minutes, and then descend again to the level of the mountaintops as visible to us, and then wink out. Immediately, others would appear, always different in color, and continuing to rise, resting, in falling pattern again and again, each one starting at a different spot in the ridge. Although this took place across the entire crest of the mountain, from 1/4 mile to our left to somewhere around 3/4 mile to the south, we were to the west of Brown Mountain on the east side of the mountain across the valley, about 3/4 of a mile away. When it finally came too dark for them to be easily seen, for some reason the activity stopped. So we waited around for some time, 15 or 20 minutes. Seeing that the show was over for the evening, we drove back to the motel. Back in Atlanta, where we were living then, the film was processed by Kodak in Chambly. Um, Over the past 40 years, I've taken them out of storage to show to people who have been interested, and they rest in my attic and storage area even as I write. I mean, that's pretty freaking neat. He said the next time I was up there around 11 years later, which had been around the spring in 1973, he's seen him again. But everything around it's been like damaged by graffiti and stuff like that, and the pollution was hard to see into the mountains, and which is understandable, which sucks big time. You know what I mean? It really, really sucks, but what are you gonna do? Ghost Story said, my family is from Florida. My ancestor, who served in the 5th Florida Confederate Irishman, he didn't own any slaves. Well, that's good. So, yeah, I mean, it really sucks that pollution, you can't see in it, but still want to go. It's one of my favorite places that I want to check out is the Brown Mountain. I want to see the lights. I want to see the lights. I'm telling you, Nubs, we do. We need to get together, like you said, and all of us do an investigation. That would be freaking cool. But there is so many stories about Brown Mountain Lights. Brown Mountain Lights. God, I can't speak today. Or any day. We know this. We know how this works. But there's these lights all over the place in the United States and all over the world. Chapel Hill Light. That's in Tennessee. This is a disc-shaped light along the train tracks. Of course, the lore there is a man who fell onto the tracks and got knocked out, was decapitated, and now wanders searching for his missing head. Another one says the light is a signalman who lost his head while swinging his lantern in a failed attempt to warn an oncoming train of a split in the tracks. That's crazy. I love the Brown Mountain Lights. I've always loved them. Yeah. Here's a couple stories from the Chapel Hill Lights in Tennessee. Hi, we're from Belfast, Tennessee, and we thought since you didn't have a story about Chapel Lights, we would let you know. There was a guy that rode the trains into town and got off when the train would stop for him. One afternoon, there was a new engineer and he didn't stop for the guy's house in Chapel Hill. It was late, so he had a lantern with him. Well, the new engineer didn't stop, so he jumped off anyway. The train somehow knocked him out and he fell into the tracks. The next morning, the train didn't see him and he ran him over. It smeared his head down the tracks. That's lovely. So he now walks the tracks on some nights carrying his lantern, looking for his head that he'll never find. Hurry back, freaky geek. That's what I was thinking, Nubs. Disc-shaped light, right? Yeah, exactly. Somebody said, I have also visited the train tracks where this man supposedly roams the night. This place not only houses his ghost, but many others. I've never seen the lantern light myself, but have been harassed by other unearthly and earthly things here. That's crazy. I have seen UFO-like lights, huge man-like beasts covered in fur, and reflections of the lights on the metal tracks. I have been clawed by things in the section of track. This place must be a vortex of spiritual activity. All right, we're going to Chapel Hill. Tennessee. I like places that have everything. That's why Skinwalker Ranch is my number one thing. This is a citizen from Chapel Hill. What really happened that night was a terrible accident. When he went to check out the man, his head was gone. So every night on one of the railroad tracks, the man... I wonder if the railroad tracks are still there. The man swings his lantern looking for his head. There's another one in the Codgel Spooklight in Georgia. This one's like a greenish or red-orangish light, approximately basketball size, which may grow larger as it approaches the observer. May pass under or through the vehicle. Can you imagine sitting there trying to call up these lights, right? And it passes right through your vehicle. Since I grew up in Cinch County, Georgia, the small town of Codgill was famous for South Georgia and North Florida for its spook light. I grew up hearing the legends of Codgill Spook Light. It was visible on a dead-end road that parallels the old train tracks. As the legend goes, the conductor was killed in a train accident and was decapitated. Another decapitation. The light was supposedly from his lantern as he searched for his head. So that coincides with the other one. Yep, that's on this list too. The Marfa lights. Because everybody knows about the Marfa lights. That's what I'm saying. If he's got... Yeah, Andy, good question. If he's got no head, how's he going to see? This is... My friend's parents own the only motel in the country, or in the county, and she tells me that she remembers travelers coming to Clinch County specifically to attempt to see the light. This was in the early 60s. I have since moved from the location and have not heard anything about the Cogdell Spook Light in years. Most of the reports that their lights would follow the vehicle for miles, then disappear abruptly. That's crazy. Another place is Cohope Light. That is in West Point, Virginia. Are you near there, Nubs? Have you heard the Cohope Light? The light is said to be that of a railroad worker who was decapitated. All these decapitated people. The Cohope Light appears in rural West Point, Virginia, along the railroad tracks at a place called the Cohope Road Crossroads. Observers have described it as a pale yellow or white light, sometimes red. In the typical sighting, the light appears far down the tracks at first, and then moves toward the observer. If the observer remains in one spot long enough, the light may approach and then pass them. The light has been known to break up in front of the person or the car and reform behind them, or skim the hoods of cars. Some encounters are far less dramatic, with the light simply swaying several feet above the railroad before disappearing. You've heard of it? Oh, that's cool. Somebody said, I remember this from a long, long time ago, about 35 years. I was about 6 or 7 years old. My aunt lived there, and we were visiting when my mom and father were told the story of a plane crashing into a train. Story has it that everyone was found dead except a woman and her daughter, and the light is the mother looking for her daughter. Story also had that 2 bodies were never found, and the seats were the 2 sitting that had no trace of blood. I went to the site with my mom and dad and other adults. They parked on the tracks with 2 cars front end blocking the tracks. Okay. After a while, the light appeared and disappeared several times. At this point, I remember watching the light go over the hood of the cars and continue down the tracks. My father never believed the story until he saw the lights that night. I remember him saying, "It's time to get out of here," and we never went back. I'd go there, Taz. I'd go there just to experience it. All these headless people reminds me of the three lepers playing poker. One dealt the cards and told a joke, another laughed his head off, and now the third threw his hands in. Oh. Nubs, you were the third one? Let's see, what else? The Crosset Lights in Arkansas. So there's lights all over the place. I mean, a lot of train legends. A lot of train legends, definitely. This one's called, let's see. Yep, this one was decapitated too. Railroad worker. Second story claims lights in the headlights of the train that was derailed, killing passengers. It's been active since the 1950s. It's also called no, it's just the Crosset Lights. That's pretty cool. Dover Lights in Dover, Arkansas. That's another big one. Flickering and swaying lights in many colors that appear in the valley below an overlook. The valley is an Indian burial ground, and the lights are the spirits of Native Americans. Or it's the lights of the spirits of miners who were killed in a mining accident in the hills. So to call these lights, though, one must shout, "I have your treasure," or gold or silver, from the valley overlook to call the lights. So you don't need to flash your headlights. You just need to say, "Hey, I got your treasure." It was a movie, Freaky Geek? That sounds... Dark Sky sounds familiar. But I don't know if I've seen Trail of UFOs. So the Dover Lights are located in the valley around Big Penny Creek near Dover, Arkansas, in the Ozarks. The valley is rural and unpopulated, but the lights are viewable from easily accessible overlook. The lights that appear in the valley have been described by viewers as flickering and swaying, and they shine in many different colors. They seem to remain within the confines of the valley and do not approach observers in the overlook. Would you be okay with that, Freaky Geek? They don't go near the observers like the other lights. They don't come near you. You just see them. Would you do that? Oh, documentary. Okay, then I probably have seen it then. So there are 4 legends associated with these lights. One claims the valley is the Indian burial ground. Another folklore explains the lights and the spirits of the miners who were involved in a mining accident. Why, Freaky Geek? They're not going to hurt you. I'm telling you, we need to all take up do something to get Freaky Geek to go on an investigation. How would that be? That would be awesome. That would be the ultimate. That would be the ultimate. Let's see. The next one is the Gordon Ghost Lights. Those are not well known. Those are in Arkansas as well. The lights is said to be that of a road. I swear, they're all decapitated. All the railroad workers in the world are decapitated. My grandpa wasn't, but, you know. Yes, right, exactly, Nicole. What Nicole said, we'll be your bodyguards. Isn't it a good movie, Nubs? I love that movie. It's a little slow because it's done, way back when, but, that's cool, Spitfire, yeah. In New York, we have a lot of Indian burial grounds, too. Same up here in Alaska. That's where I'd love to go, Simon. Simon says there's a time slip spot 10 miles from where I live. I would so go there. I'm a big ask anybody in here. I love time slips, hearing about time slips. Nicole Buster. There you go. Um, so the Garden ghost lights appear on a railroad track outside of the small town of Garden, Arkansas. This light is currently active, although the tracks are not used anymore, according to several sources. Physically, it's usually described as a white, blue, or orangish yellow, or sometimes green. It bobs back and forth in the air and may move along the tracks for some distance before it disappears. The motion is consistent with other ghost lights, and so is the local legend. So, what do you guys think these are? Are we. Thank you for the ice cream, Nicole. Thank you. So, what do you guys think these are? Are the legends manifesting the energy? I wouldn't like that, Andy. Andy says, Missy, how would you feel if you went to the time slip area and when you came back it was over 100 years later? I wouldn't like that just for the fact that I want to go back in time. I want to go back. I want to go around a corner and see, like, how it was in the past, if that makes sense. And me go, what the fuck is going on? That's that's what I want. Right then and there, right there. You think they enhance it? Swamp gas and weather balloons. Screw you, Andy. The government told me, so it's got to be true. But there are a couple that I've read with these that officers, I don't understand what the big deal is that officers have, police have problems with people looking for lights. There's a couple stories in here where police are just like, it's nothing, go away, you know. But if there's nobody around, like no houses or anything like that, nowhere, I mean, I get the whole kid hangout thing, but I mean, Jesus. Just imagine the local wildlife if you went back to the end of the Ice Age. That's true. That's why we joke about it, Simon. We know. Yeah. You're right. All burial grounds are sacred, Ghost Rider. That's true. Yeah, but I don't want to get, it was bad enough. Oh, I don't think Eddie told you either. The kids did not experience an earthquake up here. The hell's that? 2 weeks up here and they didn't experience an earthquake at all. But we did experience the tsunami warning. 5 years of living up here, we have never gotten a tsunami warning on our phones. The kids come up and boom, we have a tsunami warning. Yeah, I just don't understand that. I guess because where I grew up, we had a little bridge down the end of the road where us teenagers would hang out. And we're out in, bumfuck Egypt. We're nowhere. You know what I mean? To where cops didn't even patrol. So, maybe that's the difference. But I don't know. We just hung out. We never, there's graffiti. There's graffiti there. I have pictures from my old graffiti when, we lived there. Um, I don't think Mothman was created. I think Mothman is a harbinger of bad news. I believe I believe he can be elemental. Yeah, exactly, Nubs. I'm the same way. Nubs says, I don't think Mothman was bad. I personally think he comes to warn people about disasters. That's exactly how I feel. Yeah, he's a harbinger of bad, harbinger. Um, but yes, I think he's a. Oh God, Andy. So another one is moving on. Hornet Joplin Seneca Ghost Lights. This is in southwest Missouri on the Oklahoma border. This one is down a road, yellow or orange ball that travels eastward down the road. All right. The light may emit sparks. How would that be? If, well,
Fireworks.
I don't know. Could ball lightning produce sparks?
Yeah. Why wouldn't it? It's lightning.
Right. I don't know. But anyway, this light can emit sparks and may hop, sway, spin, or move in arcs. May land on the hood of vehicles, but will also display avoidant behavior if directed or directly approached. Occasionally, the light splits into two or more lights. The folklore on this says the lights to be spirits of a star-crossed Native American couple. Some say the light is a beheaded Indian chief. The light is the ghost of a miner searching for his kidnapped wife and child. Oh, and children. The light is the devil himself. Other explanation, perhaps swamp gas, car headlights, electrical disturbances caused by the New Madrid fault.
Weather balloon.
Weather balloon. Apparently, the light was a popular tourist attraction for a time and even had a small museum dedicated to it in the 60s and 70s. The Hornet Ghost Light, also known as the Joplin Spook Light, the Tri-State Spook Light, the Neosho Spook Light, Seneca Light, the Devil's Jack-o'-lantern, or simply the Spook Light. The earliest written reports of the lights appeared in local newspapers from the mid-30s. The Spook Light has been extremely well known since then, and then by the 1960s, a museum, now defunct, dedicated to this phenomenon, sprung up. It's also, although many articles on the Hornet Light mention a report or pamphlet from the 1881 referencing the Ozark spark light. It says, one of the experiences said, I used to live in Miami, Oklahoma, and frequent the Spook Lake Road at least 2 or 3 times a week for about 18 months or so in 1967 through 1969. Now, as you're aware, there are documented reports of light being seen in a wagon and buggy days, way before the advent of smog machines we call cars. Also, I was there one night with other people, and we waited till there was no cars present except our own. And if you're familiar with the road, then there's a small creek down the road. A mile is a close guess. That particular night, the spook light was not seen at a distance. It came within 50 feet of our hood, and it was as big as a basketball. We had been out there many nights before we all yelled, "Turn on the lights." My sister did so, which took forever, it seemed. They were hidden headlights on a 68 Ford Galaxy. That was no car that close. I work at Radio Disney and thought that you'd be interested to know. We were preparing a Theater of Mind Ghost Story series for the 13 nights leading to Halloween. One of the stories was about the Joplin spook light, which my mother says she saw very close when she was in her 20s. That would have been in the 50s.
Not the 30s.
Not the 30s. When she and her friend drove from Springfield to Joplin to find more about the lights before they tried to see it, the locals were not very friendly concerning the spook light.
You got for some reason your camera ring is portrayed on your.
Oh yeah, it's always been done. It's always done that.
No, it hasn't.
Yes, it has.
No, it hasn't.
Okay. She said the light floated down the road towards them, disappeared, then reappeared behind them, about a foot behind my mother's head, to be exact. Yes, it is, Handy. Don't argue with me. You go back and look at, I swear to God, you go back and look at other shows since I've had that. And he's talking about these rings, right? No. There. Yes, it has.
No, it ain't.
I'm telling you. You go back and look. Yes, it's because up here I have a teleprompter. You guys can't obviously see it because I can see it. But you're seeing the reflection of my camera. Yes, it's light reflecting. All right, let's go home. Let's see. Mecco, North Carolina, there's more ghost lights. I mean, they're all over the place, really. And then, of course, the Marfa lights in Texas.
Yeah. Simon's trying to
That's right. It is my halo.
Simon's trying to get brownie points.
That's right. Wow, okay, so the Marfa lights, I was just reading this. So the folklore behind this is the lights are phantom Indian chiefs or stars falling from the sky. There was no star. They were no, yeah. The lights are wandering spirits of family who got lost in the wilderness. The lights of ghost of Pancho Villa and his roving band. The light is a ghost of Adolf Hitler, because everyone knows he loves Texas. Other explanations, very likely car headlights from a nearby highway. Other highly questionable attempts at explanations are Teutonic lights, bioluminescent jackrabbits. Although, hey, you never know. Maybe there are bioluminescent jackrabbits, but I don't know. Moonlight shining off of mica deposits, nuclear test residue, and remnant pterodactyls.
Yeah, if it's right into the mix.
Yes, you do, Nubs. I just told you about Virginia ones. Virginia lights. See, will-o'-the-wisps are apparently over swamp marshy lands, but I've always known will-o'-wisp, like I'm sure like you, with fairy lights. I explained that earlier. To me, will-o'-wisp, when somebody says will-o'-wisp, I think of fairy lights and in wooded area. Actually, if Eddie shaved his beard and trimmed his mustache, you would see Adolf Hitler in front of us. We have a picture somewhere.
My license.
Is it your license?
Yeah.
That he is, I swear to God. Hey, Circle, how you doing,
What's up, Circle? Andy.
So, the Marfa lights, of course, appeared in the desert around the mountains in West Texas. They appear at dusk and move through the air, sometimes racing in straight lines, sometimes swooping or blinking. Some reports the lights dancing near the top of the mesas and may split and rejoin as they move. The lights are most often described as yellow or white, but just about every color of the rainbow have been reported at one time or another. You can see
Celebration time!
chocolate mooncake time. But the Marfa lights are the most famous spook lights in America, of course. They were featured on season 2 of Unsolved Mysteries and numerous publications. So, of course, one person says, my wife, son, and I went to Marfa, Texas in late 2003. Just before darkness settled, a white light appeared across the plains at the top of the mountain. It stayed there a few seconds and went straight into the clear sky. A lady sitting down from me was viewing the stand said, I have been coming here for years, and that's the first one I've seen do that. I watched a green light through the binoculars split into 6 lights and chase each other. I gave them to my son, and he counted 7 lights. We were there for about 2 hours, and the moving and different lights were active and pleasant to watch. My son and I saw one light split into 3 lights side by side, then switched to up and down, and then they played around in circles. Some people say the lights are from cars coming from the Presidio, but the Indians and cowboys in the 1880s reported seeing them, and they didn't have cars.
I was going to say, that'd be pretty fucking amazing.
Right? Someone there told me the Army went out there with radio men and helicopters to find them, but the lights were faster and more maneuverable than the choppers. I don't know what they are, but it's worth a trip to West Texas just to see the light. Marfa is a nice town, and there's viewing stands where you can watch the light show. I don't know, though, Simon. I don't think it would move that way, as people have described the Marfa lights. I don't think gases or, anything like that, or even, electricity, yeah, I could see bouncing back and forth, but I don't know. I don't know. Then there's Oxford lights in Ohio. That one you have to call by flashing your headlights. They said the light is said to be of a young man on a motorcycle who was decapitated in an accident while going to see his girlfriend. The girlfriend would summon him by flashing her porch headlight.
Yeah, she was flashing her porch headlights, huh?
Yeah, I'm sure.
She summoned him. It's weird, though, how all these people are decapitated.
I know. The Paulding Light, that's in Watersmeet, Michigan. I don't have any pirate ghost stories today, but that's a good one that maybe off the coast, some people seeing lights. I know there's light. I think with the headless people, I think everybody tries to make it
more dramatic.
No, well, yeah, there was a lot of decapitation. There has been a lot of, no lie, there has been a lot of decapitated people.
Boy, heads are gonna roll.
Telling you. That's not, but I think they want to make it like, what's the story? The Headless Horseman.
That's the story.
I know it's called somebody else. Or called something else. I can't remember. Yes, they were off with their heads, exactly. There's a lot of stories with the Paulding Light story, though. A lot of experiences there. And I guess you could tell a lot from the story from how many experiences there were. You know?
Right. And how much similarity is between each one.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The Rich Mountain Lights, where they're in Mena, Arkansas. It's a glowing light that crosses the highway. This one is the folklore with this is the light is the spirit of a young girl who froze to death while trying to fetch water for her sick family. Scugog Island in Port Perry, Ontario. Do you know where that is, Freaky Geek? You can go there. We'll go there with you if you know where it is. It says the light is said to be a spirit of a young man on a motorcycle who was decapitated in an accident. See, there was people decapitated in Canada, too.
Well, I'm sure it wasn't decapitation on purpose.
You're right. At one point, the town erected a Ghost Road street sign, but it was stolen. That sucks. The Scugog Island light appears by a farmer's field on a length of road near Port Perry, Ontario, from approximately the 1970s to the mid-2000s. The road is nicknamed Ghost Road and is marked as such by a short, squat boulder with graffiti on it. The light was most often reported as a single white, yellow, or red ball of light that sometimes split in two. The observer parked at the end of the road and light would appear to venture some distance towards the viewer before winking out or moving away again. Some witnesses experienced the car Oh, that would be cool. Some witnesses experienced their car being rocked gently, or rarely the light passing through the vehicle. Hey, Terry!
What's up, Terry?
I don't know, Freaky Geek. I've never I've heard obviously of Ontario. Yeah, the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Thank you, Ron. Hey, Ron! Ron is in the house.
Quiet down.
Shut up. You yell your whole show.
That's right. I am man. I can do that.
Oh, please. Let's see what else we got here. Seneth Light. The Seneth Light in Seneth, Missouri. It is said to be a white or yellow, rapidly moving light that may chase a car or lead it down the road. Some report that their vehicle is stalling on the site. Oh, well, we enjoy you being here, Ghost Rider.
Absolutely.
You did say Headless Horseman. Yes, you did.
Wow, Andy shut that under quick.
Jesus, Andy, shit starter. I don't know, Ron. I don't control that. You guys control that. Yeah, honestly, I have no clue. Sleepy Hollow in America, Simon? It's like near New York or in New York. I don't know. So this, more about the Seneth, is near Missouri that appears along a country road. Like many other spook lights, it can be summoned by flashing one's car lights. While older accounts describe the road as tree-lined, apparently some of the trees have been removed, so the area is now more open. In addition to the road itself, there are two nearby sites, Lulu Cemetery and Crybaby Bridge, that are associated with the ghost story behind the ghost lights. And some people report that the light may be seen from these two locations as well. Witnesses also claim to hear the crying of a ghostly baby from Crybaby Bridge. Yeah, I thought it was in New York. Yeah.
Why? What? When did Sam get flagged?
Why? What do you mean?
Freaky?
Oh, yeah. Well, I know that one was because he said ass, probably.
The first one that he got flagged on was because he's talking about Adolf Hitler.
Oh. Then I don't know. I can't, Nicole. I'm trying to use my sounds, but they're not up.
I don't see you getting flagged either.
Yeah, the only one I saw was the Sleepy Hollow one. But other than that, I haven't seen any. I actually got to allow that one. I didn't get yelled at. Another moderator has handled it. Okay, so twice. That's not bad, though. It sucks. I know. It does. YouTube is YouTube. You know how it is. St. Louis Light in Saskatchewan. It's a round bright light that appears white, red, or sometimes green. Some people report hearing the sound of phantom locomotion at the site, kind of like we do. We hear the phantom whistles. I swear to God. And there was no locomotive here. Was there? No.
No, because they never finished that tunnel.
That's right. They never finished that tunnel. A cry bubble bridge. I like that. What was I going to say? We talked about light in West Virginia. Wasn't it West Virginia, guys? I don't know. It's way back up in our list about lights being seen. So what do you got? Do you guys think that these are ghost lights? Or do you think that it's what everybody says it is? I'm telling you, some of them, well, I don't know. I'd love to go visit each and every one of them. Seriously. I just want to go investigate ghost lights. I want to know for myself which is what. Right?
Right.
Eddie don't want to. He's more scared of ghost lights than he is ghosts. I don't understand that. I don't.
Damn lights are just. I'm telling you.
Oh, somebody got mad. Hold on here.
What?
No, not. I'm just Somebody was.
Oh, fine, Susan. Say hey, hello to everybody from the UK, but screw us here in the United States. That's okay.
Right? I'll say hi to you, Susan. That's right, Nicole, damn it. That would be cool, Taz. That would be cool. So no, this one guy was like, he's like, I'll be damned, it is not car lights. He's like, it's not the damn car lights, period. It's not the grain elevator at Hoey Hill. It's not, that is now gone too.
Oh, is that who you're talking about that got mad?
Yeah, he's like, in the St. Louis lights, apparently. A lot of people are saying it's the shine off this grain elevator. He's like, well, that's gone now too. Guess what still shines north of St. Louis? You know?
Ron just subscribed again.
Thank you, Ron, for subscribing.
Susan, we figured that part out. I was only kidding around with you.
Yeah. Sometimes it is ball lightning. Yeah, sometimes, I mean, that's stuff where, like, when it's, like, bobbing, I can understand that, it being ball lightning. Although I've never really studied ball lightning. I've just seen certain videos of it. But the ones that, like, shoot up in the sky or move around all funky, you know, I don't. Thank you, Ron. That is so sweet of you. Nicole, you just received a 1-month subscription from Ron Weasley. Thank you, Ron.
Who else did you think was going to get it?
Yes, that's what people, because the name of the Shadows of the Moon, that's right. You get mooned by people over in dlive. You do. You get mooned. Oh, too bad that one thing ain't working. Because there is a mooner icon. Orbs on steroids. That could be too. That's true, Taz or Simon. Ball lightning is more common in UK. I wonder why that is.
More static in the air. I don't know. I'm not a fucking, weatherman or anything.
But yeah, so I mean, different aspects, I guess, right? Different. I would love to take this list and go check everything out. I would love to.
See you in about 6 months.
I don't understand how you can be more. You're the best. I don't understand how you can be more scared of ghost lights.
I think I was scared.
Then why wouldn't you want to go check it out? What is your reasoning behind not checking out ghost lights?
Because lights should not pop up in the middle of nowhere.
Do you think you're going to get electrocuted?
You never know. Welcome back, Freaky.
Right, Terry? Welcome back, Freaky. I know, right, Nicole? Men do get scared so easily.
Whatever.
You know it's true.
No, it ain't.
I know. I'd love to go check them out. I'd love to take that list and then another list that's like in the UK. I mean, now, Simon, we were talking about this earlier. Will-o-wisp to you. Are they fairy lights to you? I just think that's interesting. We get heat lightning as well. There are no clouds or storms in the air. Yeah,
we don't get no damn lightning here.
I know. We will. That huge lightning storm with freaking heat lightning. That's the only thing that sucks about living here in Alaska is we don't get the thunder and lightning storms. It sucks.
We get plenty of rain, though.
Yes, we get plenty of rain. Yeah. That's what I figured, because I love your guys' lore. And I'm big on that. I love it. They call him Mellow Yellow.
We're pissing your pants.
Yeah, I don't get freaked out that much. Not anymore. I used to. I mean, I'm not going to lie. When I first started, way back when I was young, I jump scared a lot. But, you know. Eddie, just don't be standing barefoot in a puddle when you go touching these ghost lights. Duh. Or not Andy. Eddie. See? All right, guys, I put $200, not dollars, 200 lemons in the chest over on dlive. So if you're on dlive, hype up that chat. I don't think my credits are working. I don't think anything's working.
I was just going to say that.
Let me see. Let us see. Let me try to refresh them. Yep, didn't help.
Yep.
Let's see. Ron's over there with the dancing mushroom. Oh, speaking of that, Andy, we saw your documentary. Remember that yesterday? It was like a documentary of mushrooms. I'm like, Andy's favorite documentary.
Yeah.
And no, they're not displaying. Come on now. It's rude. It's just rude. Okay, come on, credits. You can do it. See? Without streaming for a while, my computer is like, I don't know what you want me to do. Let's see. Hopefully they come up. Yes, there they are, finally. Jesus. All right, guys. With that being said, well, you say your spiel there.
Yeah, I can't when you keep running your mouth.
That's true. That is true, not gonna lie.
I don't even remember what the hell I say anymore. No. Hugs to the ladies, fist bumps to the guys. Stay safe, stay strong. We'll get through this together. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, guys. Tomorrow, on tomorrow's show, we are talking, I don't know, what are we talking? We are talking, I'm telling you. I don't know what was on the show.
Wow.
I know, I'm telling you. It's crazy. I don't have anything. Oh, yeah. We are talking tomorrow. We're talking personal developments and how to be more honest with yourself. All right. Then Wednesday, we're talking UFOs and aliens, of course. With that being said, let me go ahead and I have released the lemons. So if the chest hasn't popped up, make sure you click on it. Yes, Snubs, I'm going live tomorrow. I know, my head is having messiisms. What else is new? Come on, you guys know how it works around here. You know how it works.
And this is just the beginning of the week.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Come on now. You know how we do.
No,
But with that being said, I love you guys. See, here comes the lemons. Nicole got 101.6.
Oh, what the fart?
Okay. Freaky Geek got 58.7 and Ron got 42.7. Lemons over on dlive. Love you guys. That's right, it is simple. Too bad, Andy, we're still doing a show on it. Sorry. Yes, you guys are. And I appreciate each and every one of you for watching. All right, guys. With that being said, I love you. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow. And remember, find something today that makes you smile with your eyes. Love you guys. Mwah.